Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 30. On this show, we strive to showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products based from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. Bandwidth for this episode is brought to you by Action Target. Today I have with me two new voices to the show. Well, Nick's been on here before. Nick from Practically Tactical and Troy Clopton from God and Guns podcast. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Good to be here.
Good to be back.
Yeah, I appreciate you joining me tonight. You guys been out shooting this week?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Troy.
I got to go out and shoot at lunch 2 days so far this week, so it's been good. And other than shoot my son's BB gun at Carpenter Bees in the evenings, that's about all I've got to do this week.
Well, for me, the past week, I shot my first competition ever. A little local IPDA? Am I even saying it right? It's loosely based, and so I will be shooting it my second time in a couple days. So that was a lot of fun, my first competition shoot. So looking forward to do it again this week.
Sweet. What were you shooting?
My MP9. Of course, now I got to say it because all my friends that hear this podcast will laugh at me. It wasn't like an official. It was just like a little local match. So I have to make that out there because otherwise all my friends will send me hate mail. But it was my first ever competition shoot, and I'll tell you what, for anybody that's never tried it, even just go to a local one. It is so much fun.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, I think it's IDPA.
IDPA.
Yeah.
It's based off of kind of those rules, but they do their own thing. So it makes for a lot of fun. They even have a pistol only, or I'm sorry, not pistol only, revolver only class too, which I thought was kind of cool.
Sweet. Yeah, I did a little, of course, visited my mother for Mother's Day, like we all should have been doing. But I also picked up a new rifle. I'll be doing a write-up on here in the next couple episodes. It's a Savage 10 and 22 250. So it's both. I've never owned a Savage and I've never owned a 22 250. So gonna be fun to see what it's all about and the differences and see if I like it or not.
Those look like some fun little rounds to shoot.
Yeah, 4,000 feet per second, man. That's all I've been saying in my head, doing the math. My holdovers, and I'm like, man, like I don't even need some of the scopes I have so much adjustment. I won't need that much for MOA because, if it's dropped, 10, 12 inches, it's probably already lost most of its muzzle energy at 800 yards or farther. So I can't shoot my steel because I've got a feeling that'll put a nasty little hole in it, but should be definitely fun for coyotes and groundhogs.
Yeah, when I was looking and researching for my coyote gun, I had settled on a 25-06, and I was really close to the 22 250, but the only thing that threw out the 22 250 was any kind of brush or wind will have a bigger effect on it than the 25-06. But most of the guys around here, they use the 22 250 on coyotes.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's traveling so fast that usually the wind doesn't have too much. It doesn't affect it as much as say like a 223.
Mm-hmm.
But the round is so light. Usually they're 45, 50, 55 grains, 60 grains. So just really lightweight. So yeah, if you hit any brush, that's probably gonna deviate your point of impact.
Yeah.
And it's a mouthful to say too. So let's get right into the announcement. We're still doing the Raid Tech giveaway. So the Raid Tech LED advisors and digital counters. I have an AR-15, a 1911, a 92FS, and an MNP9 model. So these just replace the grip and/or for the AR-15 attached to your magazine well, and they give you an interactive feedback with your ammunition supply. so a little bit more, enhance your shooting or your training. They're pretty awesome. I've tried them out. I did a review on the 1911 model, so you can check that out on the Firearms Insider website. So I'm giving these away. All you have to do to enter is rate this show an iTunes review. So if you search for Gun and Gear Review podcast on the iTunes store, and leave us a review, and send me an email, cross@firearmsradio.tv, with your name, your username, which is important, your address, and which of the four models that you have a preference in. And deadline for the entries is May 27th, and I will be announcing the winners on the episodes shortly thereafter.
I looked at those today. Those are really cool. I hadn't saw those until I was reading your show notes today.
Yeah, it's an interesting bit of tech you can add to your gun that's, not all that expensive, and it, can potentially, make you feel like, I know there's the sense of, oh, hey, this is like a video game because I've got my little ammo counter here. But in a more serious sense, it could help you with, training for reloading under live fire or a simulated live fire, that kind of thing.
I'm sure that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had a model that fit all of these, but I don't have a Beretta 92 FS, and my M&P is a compact, so I was, SOL there. But the AR-15 and the 1911 ones, those are both pretty awesome. Tried them both, and the nice thing about the 1911 one is that those come with some really nice 7-round magazines too.
Are wives of FRN signed contracted show members eligible for this giveaway?
I'm not. I wouldn't know if they contacted me and didn't say, Nick's my husband, then I wouldn't be any the wiser. But it's frowned upon. I will frown.
Honey, go give Ryan's podcast 5 stars.
They need to do that anyway.
Yeah. So the other announcement is that I'm going to be opening up the podcast to having more new faces and new voices, just so we can get a little bit more variety in who you hear every week and whose experiences, and a little bit more variety in the gear reviews as well. So if you're interested in coming on the podcast, all you have to do is send me an email, cross@firearmsradio.tv, and then I'll get you set up with what you need as far as tech requirements. You need a Google Plus account and how to write a written review that we can link to. So if that interests you at all, give me an email. So let's get right into the new product spotlight. The first one is the biggest and the baddest that I've been able to find, and this is from the NRA show, and it's the H-Car, which is essentially the BAR 2.0. If you're not familiar, the BAR is the Browning the Browning automatic rifle. Darn liberals got me all tongue-tied. The automatic rifle, and it was a 30-06 used back in the war, and pretty bad A, man. The M1918 Browning automatic rifle weighed about 20 pounds, and you can imagine that it would take quite the caliber of the man to be able to tote this thing around the European front. So you guys taking a look at this new H-Car?
Yeah, I was looking at it earlier. It's really cool. I always liked the original big old heavy walnut stock. I mean, I couldn't imagine packing that around. You'd have to have someone carry your ammo for you too. I mean, it was because it was your main machine gun for your squad usually, wasn't it?
Yep. So what do you think, Nick?
Well, I actually just had my first experience actually after NRA annual meetings. I think Saturday or Friday. I went to a machine gun shoot where they actually had a BAR variant, the M19. I think it was some European Type of one had a different selector of rounds per second on it, but it was pretty much identical, and it was really cool to see someone shoot it. But obviously, looking at this in comparison versus an actual BAR, love the way it looks. It's way lighter, obviously.
Mhm.
I mean, my only gripe would be the 30-06 part versus seems like to me if you're going to modernize it, you would just go to the full, okay, let's just go to a 308. It's a more common round. It supports the NATO round. But I understand the aspect, okay, let's keep the 30-06. And then there are the caliber truists who will say 30-06 is still better for the speed of the 30-06 round. But overall, I think to me, it's an attractive looking gun. It's a sexy gun. Yeah, I would open carry that at Starbucks to pick up chicks, big time.
Yeah, it's certainly been tacticalized. It's from Ohio Ordnance Works, so it's very much been modernized. You won't see a lick of wood on here, but then again, it doesn't look like Tapco took a swing at it. You know, it looks good. The barrel has it's been dimpled, so it's a 16-inch barrel, and it's been dimpled to help reduce overall weight and increase the cooling. And it's threaded barrel, so you can put all your standard 30 caliber muzzle brakes, flash suppressors, or a suppressor for that matter on there. It's got Picatinny rails everywhere it should. Doesn't seem like it has any where it really shouldn't. And then another thing that's been modified is the selector switch has been a little bit more modernized with a short 45-degree throw. If anyone's familiar with the original BAR, you might be familiar that the the selector was, a little bit troublesome as far as a full degrees of rotation. So that it has a trigger system that pulls 3.5 and 7 pounds, so it's adjustable. And the button on the magazine release has been replaced with a lever release. It's kind of similar to an AK or an FAL. And the bolt close switch is now ambidextrous and located on either side of the magazine guide. So kind of nice ergonomical changes to the controls to help make it less of a, just a pain to operate. So I think the overall weight that I read was significantly less than their original. And they're
reduced by 8 pounds.
Yeah, reduced by 8 pounds. And they're saying that, so it's 12.5 pounds. And they're saying thanks to its weight and the hydraulic dampener in the stock, the recoil of the 30-06 is less than that of a 223 in this rifle, which I've seen the videos, but I'd still would love to feel what that's like, because I mean, saying that it kicks lighter than a 223, that's no small statement. But
it also comes
awesome.
with an adjustable gas block and adjustable trigger, and according to them, it goes down to 2 pounds. A 2-pound trigger.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's still heavy though. I mean, because M14 they're about 9.2, 9.5 pounds empty. About 10.7 loaded though. So I don't know what the difference was, and I wonder where all the extra weight's going to, because it's still 2 pounds heavier than the M14.
And it does look like it takes standard AR-15 stocks as well. So there's kind of like a buffer tube in the back, so you can, whatever your favorite stock is. That looks like a Magpul stock, either the Mo collapsible carbine stock. Pretty cool. I'm not sure what the MSRP of it is. I'm sure it's definitely a premium. And then whether or not it's how easy it is to get a hold of if it's being made by just one Rifle Works company. I'm sure the demand and the line is quite long.
Yeah, is it
cool.
a select fire? Or is it just semi-auto?
Well, in the video they were showing it at a rate of fully auto, so I don't know if they're going to make select or semi-automatic versions.
I would assume
Their
they probably
website,
will.
their website, it doesn't have a whole lot of info on. If you go to the Ohio Ordnance Works, on the far right of their navigation bar, they have a kind of preview the H car, and then it just links to one video, and then you click on the link to read more, and it just goes to a different article that has some more photos. Still cool to see, though.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, so you can go to the show notes of this episode on the Firearms Insider website and click on the links and check out the photos that we're talking about. They've got one that's in kind of a tan and then one that's in a black. And both of them will definitely get you laid.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Why open
So,
carry at Starbucks?
Or what's the new thing? Jack in the Box?
Yeah, Jack in the Box.
So next up this week we've got the Securite Falcon Fast Box, and it's a under the bed weapon cabinet. It can be used both laying long ways, or it can be standing up vertically. So it fits shotguns, ARs, and handguns. It's 47 1/4 inches by 13 inches, and the depth is 6.5 inches. So it can be used most commonly under the bed, or it can also be used in the closet, and then you can get multiples and actually link them together and have kind of just like a mini weapons locker. So it also works pretty well for mobile storage.
I would say, I'm just here, for those that are watching on YouTube, you can see I was working on a video on my AR behind me with an EOTech 512 optic. I'm like in 6.5 inches.
That's what I was
I
thinking.
don't know if my AR. I'm like, well, and I'm even thinking, okay, if I removed my EOTech, that's gonna be close, 6.5 inches. That's my only real concern. It looks nice. I think this is definitely. I know like a month or two ago there was that craze of all the guns that fall out of the beds above your head and all this. I think that this is a much better solution than having magic access to rifles that fall out of your headboard or whatever the big craze was. I am a little concerned about the 6.5 inches, and then also the mechanism that looks hard to operate. Like I'm thinking like the picture that they show is the guy hanging out of the bed and grabbing it. There is no way I could push those buttons hanging off the bed like that. Now, something like an RFID, maybe, and they're probably working on that. Everybody's kind of going that way now. Would make it really, really nice, I would say. But I like the idea behind it. I definitely like it better than the headboard stuff. I am a little concerned about the 6.5 inches, though.
Yeah, I would be concerned about hitting my foot every time I went to go to bed too. Because I would like tear every toenail off every time because I would forget it was there. Bang.
Well, it's nice. It's nice the way it's flat enough that if you wanted to put this like up high, like above on a top shelf in the closet, it not only is it locked up, but it's higher than the little people can reach. So that's good. I don't see why you would get 3 or 4 of these and stack them vertically and then link them together, because then you might as well just get an actual safe that's got some fire rating to it. But as far as concealed storage with security, it's kind of nice. I don't see. Oh, it looks like they just use those like plastic brackets to catch your barrel. So that being used when it's standing vertically. I'm trying to see how your gun is just sitting against the sidewall when you've got it laying long ways.
I don't know. In their picture, in the link in the show notes, you'll have to check this out. But they show an AR with an EOTech 512 with the GI mag in it, and there's no way that's 6.5. There's no way that's fitting in 6.5 inches. I don't know if maybe they have the size on there wrong.
Maybe have it different. Maybe
I'm wondering if it's
deep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, the 6.5 is actually the narrowest part of the dimensions. So
That's
I think
height.
it depends on which way you've got it oriented. I was looking at the wrong image. So as far as depth goes, you've got 13 inches.
13 inches.
So
Okay.
you'll be able to fit your bub it out AR-15 rifle.
Yeah.
But
And
you got to put
my
risers on your bed though, because most beds aren't that tall.
Yeah, that would be
so
true.
buy 4 of them, put one under each side of the bed.
Yeah, the bed just sits on the
I have
boxes.
2 for my ARs and then 2 for my new HBAR or whatever it was called.
Yeah. Well, forget
I'm
the
gonna use a
box spring, man.
30-06 bar for home defense.
Forget the box spring. Just get like 12 of these and just link them all up. And so that way, when it hits the fan, man, just rip your spring top, your cushion top off, and then you've got all your safes.
Have them come out with the RFID chips, and you just wave your hand over your bed, and 6 gun cases pop down with ARs in it.
Yeah.
The dream. That'd be the dream, wouldn't it?
I've seen the beds that have just a cabinet underneath of the bed, and then it's hydraulically lifts, and it raises up, and you can like have, I don't know, 20 or 30 guns under there. It's huge, but I would have a hard time bending over and reaching out to try to get those guns out without cracking my head on the bed that's levered right over your head.
Yeah.
No, but overall,
Cool idea, but go ahead.
I think it's a good idea. Again, I would like, again, now that we have the correct depth on it there, I like it. Again, I think it's better than the fall out of the headboard craze that went on. I maybe have a little bit of issue of access, how at least they show the person accessing a shotgun out of the picture, because there's no way upside down and sideways you could push buttons and turn a dial. But I think it's a really good idea. It utilizes space that's probably not commonly used. I think it's good.
Yeah, they should have used the like the little just three or 4 button keypads that you just do a combination. That way you can really hit it from the right angle. But then again, like you said, RFID. Even there's what we covered last week. There's the gun box has a multi-directional fingerprint scanner.
Yep.
So
I interviewed him at NRA. Actually, I did a video with him on my YouTube channel. Really cool
look at you, Mr. Big Time.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Not really.
Yeah,
But
make sure the listeners check that out. Check that out if you're interested.
I've got one of those bedside biometric safes that reads your fingerprints, and if I don't moisten them, it won't read it at all. It's the same way at work. We've got those on all of our doors going through our factory, and you've got to like huff or blow on it or get it wet on my fingers because my fingerprints are about gone to work. So I don't know. I've got the key handy in case it won't read, but I've went many times and put my finger on the biometric safe and it'll reject it, and it makes all this noise. I'm like, this is not going to work.
not to plug the gun box too much, but I know they have a completely different scanner on theirs.
Uh-huh.
And on theirs, you can set up to scan your palm. You can pretty much your toe. You can have it pretty much set up to scan anything because it's made for people that have lost their fingerprints on their fingers.
So. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I have to use a different finger than my index finger because my fingerprint on my index finger is worn off from shooting. It's just flat. There's nothing there.
Man, you must be really good then.
No, I just practice a lot because I'm really bad.
Right on. Well, to check out that safe, go to secureittactical.com. And then you can use their navigation and find it's the fast shotgun box, but it's called the Falcon. So next up, actually, we've got a budget pocket 45 or subcompact 45, and it's from Carr. And if you're not familiar, car and budget are usually not 2 words that get used in the same sentence, unless you're saying, man, I really like that car, but I better get something else budget. So this
they call it a car because it cost about the same as a car.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, didn't they when they first came out, they were pretty entry-level priced, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean this model is made with polymer instead of all steel or using wood grips. So it's actually it's priced much more competitively, but it's compared to some of the other offerings that are out there. So this is a single stack 45 ACP, so you're looking at a capacity of 5+1. So if, as far as the competition on the market, the Springfield XDS 45, this comes. Bring up the price of the XD, but if this doesn't beat the price, then I don't know why you wouldn't get the XD unless you just have something against Springfield or you don't like that model.
Well, I looked at this at the car CM45. I looked at it hard when I was down at NRA in Houston last year, and I really wanted to like it. And I tell you, the grip is great, and the trigger pull is awesome. But the reset you have to go all the way out to get that trigger to reset, and you're already putting yourself at a disadvantage with a single stack, and then if you're going to have to stretch your finger all the way out to reset every time, I don't know, it just everything but the trigger reset was fine for me. I like the way it looked, like the way it felt. It was nice and thin, but I ended up buying Springfield XDS for deep cover carry over this because just didn't like the trigger. The XDS's trigger was a lot better, I thought.
So the MSRP on the XDS is $669. What did you get yours for?
The XDS?
Yeah.
I paid $535 for mine.
Okay. Well, so this comes under, just shy of $100. It's got a almost a 3 1/4 inch barrel. The trigger's double action only, a locking breech with a Browning type recoil lug, passive striker lock, and there's no magazine disconnect. Safety. The overall length is 5.79 inches with a height of just shy of 4.5 inches. And the slide width is just over 1 inch. So the weight is 17.3 ounces. It's just a textured polymer, and the sights are drift adjustable white bar, and then the front is a pinned polymer front sight. So definitely you're looking at not a whole lot of features that keep the price down. It's pretty non-adjustable, plain Jane. It looks like it might be comfortable to shoot. I mean, it looks like I don't know, the frame is kind of XD-esque, as like the original XDs, just subcompact as far as the line stippling on the front and the back, the textures in the polymer.
Trigger guard looks interesting on it.
Yeah, what's that double hump?
Yeah,
is that
because the trigger has to go back out 4 inches to reset.
Yeah, there you go. It looks like it might be contoured for your supporting hand.
It's a length of pull, man. I'm not kidding. I really liked it. It just the trigger reset was. I mean, if they had a shorter trigger on that thing, I would probably buy one, just because everything else aesthetically about it was really nice. I believe it, everyone I've heard says it's a good shooter. I just didn't like that trigger.
Yeah, I have a bunch of buddies who are on the car bandwagon. I don't have a whole lot of experience with that. I mean, I played with them in gun shops. But no, Troy has it right on. They have really good triggers, especially their really subcompact 9s have really good triggers compared to the market. But again, he's right on the trigger reset, man. It's pretty much like the whole way. It's almost like an R51 reset. It's just all the way.
I thought I was going to have to push it all the way up and then get my thumb behind it and push it a little further. I need a little extra help there. But yeah, the R51, I looked at that when I was in NRA Indy, man. I just started laughing. I'm sorry, but that gun's a joke.
It's bad.
It's awful.
On the CM45, I mean, everything looks good to me. I mean, I just have more issues with 45 than prepare for the hate mail for this. I just have more issues with 45 because you can get many more rounds in 9mm, and ballistically wise, there's not a whole huge difference to where I'd want to carry more rounds. But that's not that gun issue. That's just the 45 caliber takes up more room.
Yeah, that's true. We're not going to start that flame war, but
I already did.
I'm here. I'm a 45 guy, so we can start it right now. Size is relative, guys.
well, here's the thing, man. Get both. If you know, have one for a different. If you feel like carrying a subcompact 45, then have one. If you feel like going with the 9 and having a little bit more rounds, get one.
Yeah, if you're a bad shot, get a 9mm. If you're a good shot, just get a 45. Save ammo.
9mm is better than 45. If you disagree, please email Cross at firearmsradio.tv.
Don't email me because I'll just reply with 357 SIG. Period.
SIG. Oh man.
Discussion over.
You like SIG?
Here comes the hate mail now.
You must be rich.
No, not particularly.
Every time I see that stuff in the store, it's like gold, man.
Oh, that's right. You have the M&P SIG, don't you?
Oh yeah, I know. Actually, I just ordered in the 40 barrel for it.
That makes the 357 a little bit better when it's in an MP.
Yeah. So anyway, if you want to check that out, the CM45, make sure you go to car.com. And if you're wondering how that's spelled, that's KAHR. So let's get right into the sponsored product of the week. You can go to our firearmsinsider.tv website and click on the Action Target banner, and that'll give you a discount of 15% off your order from the Action Target store, or alternatively, you could go to the store and just enter in the promo code radio15 to get your 15% off, or you can go to www.firearmsinsider.tv/Action Target. So the Action Target product that I'm going to review bring up this episode is the spinning jack target, and it's actually something that I have here to show as well. What it is basically it's a post that you drive into the ground, and that sits on top of it is a 22 rimfire steel target that's in the shape of a jack with different shapes on each end. So here's an actual jack. So you can see that it spins. It's got diamonds or squares and then circles on alternative ends. And it doesn't really matter how you stick it into the stake, go upside down or the other way. So basically you would stake this into the ground and shoot at the corners with your 22, and it would cause the jack to spin, and then when it rests, you get a different target to shoot at. Sometimes if the target doesn't spin completely in a 45 degree, it kind of enhances the challenge a little bit. Spin it a little bit more. The price is only $69 from Action Target, so it's really good there.
Cool.
If you're on a tight budget, the steel itself, it's a 1/4 inch Air 500 armor steel, and that's the same with the stand too. It's a little bit less than a quarter, but it's meant to take the if you miss this jack and you hit the stand, it'll just deflect right off, no problem. So the shooting distance is 10 plus yards. I think if you shot this with some stingers within 10 yards, not only are you foolish and asking for a ricochet, but you're probably gonna cause a little bit more dentation than you'd like. So the overall weight is only 13 pounds, which makes it really nice to just throw in your car or your truck and go to the range, or set this up in your field and shoot at. Yeah,
it looks like
check
it'd
it
be
out.
really fun. Have you got to shoot it yet?
I have not yet. I just found some 22 long rifle this weekend, so I'll actually be able to take it to the range and shoot at it a little bit.
Are you still having a hard time finding 22 up there?
Well, yeah, it depends on what kind. I mean, I can get shorts that won't cycle any of my autoloaders. But getting actually high velocity stuff is kind of hard to come by. It's limit one box, but everyone just goes after it like it's gold bars. At least in my area. I think it's getting a little bit better, hopefully for everybody. But it's kind of just the running joke is, I'd give my leg to do that. It's like, man, I'd give my last brick of 22 LR to try that out. So check out the Spitting Jack at store.actiontarget.com/rimfire spinning, and you just look in their search into their store for the Rimfire Spinning Jack.
Just sorry to interrupt there. If you've ever got a bad guy chasing you, can just throw that thing out and like take out their tar and everything else too. Like satraps or something.
Like what do they call that? A caltrop?
Caltrop, yeah, that's what.
Pretty sure it looks like something from like Inspector Gadget or something, like dropping out of the car.
That'll probably take out a radiator if you toss it just right.
Well, you could probably set the jack itself on the ground too, and then just plink it and it'd probably roll over. And you can also buy the jacks separately in case someone shoots it with a 223 or a handgun caliber and dings it up. You can always buy that separately as well.
So for the $69, they get that stand and the spinner target?
That's right. Yep, that's right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a real good deal.
And 15% off with the promo code Radio15.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, you'd be a fool to not take that up.
Yep.
Yeah. Might have to get that.
Yeah, let's get it right into the main topic, the panel discussion of reviews, and I'm going to go ahead and let Nick do his review first.
All right. So we can be bold on this show, right? Because I'm going to be bold here. I'm not going to hold back here. All right.
Go ahead.
So everybody, hopefully there's a lot of people out there that listen that concealed carry every day. I am one of those people. And everybody is always searching for that perfect inside the waistband holster that conceals, that's comfortable, something that you can wear every single day, and it's a product that lasts, most importantly. Well, I think I got it. This is the Forest, for those watching on YouTube, this is the Forest City Tactical. This is like showing the weather here. Sheepdog holster. Now, the one you're seeing is actually customized, less of a sweat guard because my firearm is Cerakoted, so I chose not to have the longer sweat guard. But usually they come with a longer sweat guard. This is customized for me, and this is one of the really cool parts that Jesse at Forest City Tactical does is he can customize it per order. But let's see if I can show you, if hopefully this comes through on the mic. He has a known pop on all of his holsters. I don't think that comes through very well on sound, but it's absolutely fantastic, and it's not easy to come out. But here's the fantastic thing about this holster. For one, it's $55. Two, has a lifetime warranty. And then three, this thing is absolutely comfortable as no other to wear. I wore this for how many miles did we walk a day in Indianapolis, Troy? 100? 200 miles a day?
Like more.
I wore this every single day. It was comfortable. I literally forgot it was there. This is a holster that I can wear. You could appendix carry this if that's how you carry. You can carry it at 2 o'clock. You can carry it at 3 o'clock. Carry 4 or 5 o'clock, whichever clock you prefer, whichever time. I absolutely love this holster, the way it is done. And again, one of the really cool things here for those that can see it here, when you have to purchase on your firearm, none of the holster gets in the way. So when you're going to purchase your firearm to draw out, you're getting all gun, and that's, I think, a really important part of it too. And especially for the way that the clip is designed here, with the great, it kind of goes over then under on your belt. You can actually cant this a little bit. So if you're a straight guy kind of guy, it works. You can cant it a little bit, stays right there, and so you can get that forward cant that you like. You can get just about 10 degrees on your cant. Absolutely love this holster. Again, it's $55, lifetime warranty on every single thing in it. It's .8 Kydex, so it's not any of that flimsy stuff that can collapse. Absolutely love this holster. Then of course it has the retention screws on it, and then of course the belt, and you could change the belt system if you want. Absolutely fantastic inside the waistband holster. He makes really high quality products there. He also is really well known for his Delta, his outside the waistband holster. So if you guys haven't checked out Forest City Tactical, forestcitytactical.com, or you can go on the show notes to get a link to the Sheepdog, their inside the waistband holster. Highly recommend it. It's an absolutely comfortable holster that I'm now getting for all of my handguns, because I absolutely love this holster. And again, too, I should point out, if you're a T-shirt guy like I am, so I wear a lot of T-shirts, more because it's like winter in Wisconsin right now. I can easily concealed carry my handgun with just a T-shirt, and I'm a big guy. So if it's comfortable, it conceals. You can cant it if you want. Lifetime warranty, $55. You can't go wrong with the 4C Tactical Sheepdog.
Nice. And so they make that for pretty much all models, as he got his library fleshed out.
Yeah. Pretty much every mainstream one. I think I want to say, I could be wrong, he might even have Kel-Tec stuff. I know he has all the SIG stuff, obviously Glocks, M&Ps, all sorts of a few odds and ends. He's got a bunch though. They're all listed on his website.
Nice.
Yours has no cant, right? It's a straight cant.
Actually, I can. Well, I don't want to stand up and show my flab, but you can put this in straight draw. But the way that this hook is right here, I can cant it. I usually cant mine about 10 degrees max. And that's how I carry it. Yep.
You carry it on your 2 o'clock or where?
I can actually vary it. I usually carry between like 3:30 and 4, somewhere in there. Okay. Sometimes I just do 3 o'clock, depending on kind of where I'm doing stuff. But pretty much I always carry it around 4 o'clock, give or take half a degree, and how lazy I am. Yeah. Sometimes I just throw it in and go.
I've been looking at carrying the appendix carry, and I just got a holster in from Works Holsters. They sent me to try out the appendix carry. So I've been looking for someone else besides Rob Pincus that actually carries there. So
yeah, I don't appendix carry because not that it might not be. It could be. I think it could be a really, especially concealable way to carry. But for me, I have like fat in the way of reaching to my firearm, and I don't think that's the best way when needing to draw from a firearm.
Yeah, well, I've got flab too, but I've carried there a few days with this new holster, and I'm starting to wear on me a little bit. I really like how easy it is just to reach, and you don't have to move that shoulder, to reach for the gun. So I'm thinking about getting a holster for appendix carry for my Glock.
Yeah, give them a try. And again, you can appendix carry this. I mean, it is really just a fantastic holster. And again, one of the big really things I like about it is when you go to grab that firearm, you're getting all purchase on the firearm. That's kind of the one thing. Like I'm really not. I used to be kind of big fan of the rubber mold injected loops, and a lot of people use them. But the problem is from this one's like 4 inches long. Those mold injected ones have to be really long, and then they have the big loops that are adjustable for size to your belt. Well, the problem is I would always run into those of getting into my way when purchasing a firearm because they're so big, and that's why I really about the clips that it uses on here. And that's just the biggest thing is when I go to purchase my firearm, if I need to get to it, I'm going to get all gun, no holster. The holster holds the gun and doesn't impede the process on it. So
cool.
Very nice. Yeah, just the drawing, I guess it really depends on what degree of angle you're comfortable with carrying, but having a single point for around the belt, it just seems like it cants anyway, depending on how active you are.
It stays stuck. I mean, I usually cant mine, but sometimes I do it straight. I'm weird. I'm like in this weird find myself. Except instead of finding myself, my inner Nick, it's more of how do I want to feel like carrying today? And I literally, even with other holsters that I've had before, I've been going through this phase of just carrying everywhere all over my body. I don't know, I'm weird maybe.
That sounds like a new fetish. You better put your name on that. You can call it practically tacticalism or
practically tacticalism. It's where you don't know where to carry a gun and you open carry a bar variant into Starbucks.
There you go.
Consensual carry.
Well, cool. How about you, Troy? What did you bring today?
Well, I brought the gun that everyone's heard about and is probably sick of, but I have recently, in the last 3 months, purchased a Glock 30S. And I started out with a Glock 20 When I started concealed carrying back in 1994, I carried a Glock 20 most of the time because I wore a jacket so I could cover it up, and I carried a lot of times shoulder holster or what they used to call SOB holster, small of back holster for several years. And then I bought a 17 and traded, and got a 19 and traded, and then I ended up with a 21 and carried that for a while, which is the 45, big boy. And then I got the 30. I bought a police trade-in Glock 30 Gen 2.5 and fell in love with it. It was just the right size. Felt like for my hand. 10+1 capacity, 45 ACP. And so I carried that for the last 2 years or so, I guess 2.5 years. And when the 30S came out, I immediately wanted it, but I could never get one. I kept calling my gun dealer and having them, try to order one. Every gun shop I went to, they never had them in stock. And I got to see it at NRA in Houston last year and play with it and drool over it. And I've just been waiting until it finally came in I guess we're right about mid-March sometime. And so I've had since mid-March. The Glock 30S is a Glock 30 SF lower. If you guys know, SF is a short frame lower, and it's got a Glock 36, which is the single stack upper slide on it. So the top slide is from a Glock 36, and the lower on the Glock 30 is from the Glock 30 SF short frame. And people were buying those two guns and making their own Frankenstein for a concealed carry because the slide is so much thinner than your standard Glock 30, Glock 30. And it's clear. I've already cleared it, but I'll let everybody sit so they know I'm not playing around with the load. But the advantage of the Glock 30S is the slimmer slide. It's a little bit lighter. The walls of the slide are thinner. The walls of the barrel are thinner than the standard 30 barrel. It's a compact. It's about almost identical, the same size as a Glock 19, if you guys are familiar with Glock 19, but the slide is even thinner than the Glock 19 if you put those side by side. I've got 1,250 rounds through it as of today and not have failure, one, to fire or stovepipe or anything. Took it straight out of the box and started shooting. Sights are great on it right out of the box, and I wanted to put it on Trigicon, excuse me, not Trigicon, TrueGlow TFO sights on it, and just can't get them to tell me which model that is. But I've really enjoyed it. The only thing I've changed on it so far is put an extended mag release on it. An extended slide lock release on it because my fingers can't grip that little flat thing. And I've been carrying it in a crossbreed holster, hybrid holster, and really like it. It's very secure, very comfortable in the hand, very good grip. And so I carry the Glocks with its original magazine in the gun, and then my backup magazines are Glock 21 mags, because the 30S can use the Glock 21 13-round magazines. So I've got higher capacity for if I've got to go to a reload after 11 rounds, if I should have to do that. I keep two Glock 21 mags on me, the extra 26 rounds that way. And it comes with a hard case. Like all Glocks do now, it comes with the two magazines, a mag loader, cleaning brush, lock, and of course all your paperwork and all that stuff. Price point for me, I picked mine up for it was $540 in tax. So got for $540 in tax here locally in Kentucky. I don't know what they were running nationally, but they were just forever getting to the stores. They were just sold out every time we checked. Wholesalers didn't have them, couldn't get them in. But I really like it. I'm going to put a 3.5 pound trigger bar in there to lighten the trigger up some. and or I might just go ahead and get a aftermarket trigger. I don't, since it's my carry gun, I don't want to outwardly change its appearance a lot. I don't want to, if I ever have to use it, I don't want anybody to put that up on, something up there. It says "Kill 'em all" that God sort of on the slide or something, and try to defend myself in public. So my carry guns, I try to keep them as stock looking as possible. I do everything internally just to beat, speed them up and to lighten the trigger and to try to make them, as reliable as possible. I don't want to do anything that's going to take away the reliability. But I think it's probably the best you can get for a concealed carry. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3" and I'm 3 something. So I've been lifting weights all my life. So I got lots of bulges and cracks of places to put guns. So I don't mind carrying a 45. I know you guys making fun of me, but I do I do really like it. The only thing, when I first got it, I was really concerned because I had a hard time getting the magazines to seat against that slide. And it sort of, spooked me at first because I would have mags, drop out, while I was dry reloading and things like that. But it needed some break-in. And so, I just started, after I started shooting it and after I started, jamming those mags in there, everything worked fine. It was just a break-in period. But never had a problem with it feeding or with it jamming. And it's ate everything I've got. I shoot some mag tech through it, and I've got some Winchester white box, and I've got some reloads that I bought back when it was hard to get 45, and it's been shooting that stuff, and not had any trouble with it. So that's about all I have about it. You guys have any questions?
Yeah. One thing I forgot to ask of Nick, which I will after your review, but if you were to rate this on a scale from 1 being just god awful and like 9.5. We don't really give 10s unless we all concur, the whole team. But so don't worry about ruffling any Glock fanboys' feathers. But what would you give that a number review?
Well, I'm not saying it's wholly in any form or fashion. I would probably say it's probably about 8.5 or 9 of a perfect, if the perfect gun existed. Of course, the only thing about the Glocks is it's just, it's always a big thing to grab. I put on the Talon rubber grips decals. I guess you can see those there maybe. Because when my hands get sweaty, that even with a better texturing that this model's got on it, it's still not grippy enough when you're shooting 45 and with only getting 2 fingers on it. You've got to have something as tacky as possible. So I'd say probably 8 to 9 in that range, just because I've not seen anything that really I like better. And the reason it's probably that high is because it's just the reliability. I mean, I know when I pull that trigger, it's going to fire. And I know, I know how to take them apart, and I can, break it down with one hand if I had to. It's just, I've had Glocks for 20, so what is this? Yeah, 20 years. So I've had Glocks for 20 years, been shooting them, been carrying them, and so I guess it's just the familiarity. I'm probably biased on that, and just, I just trust them.
Yeah. So, and going back a little bit, what number rating would you have given your sheepdog holster?
I mean, I don't think there's ever a perfect 10 in holsters. I mean, for the fact no one holster will ever be perfect for everybody. But I put it somewhere, we'll say 8.5 range. I mean, I don't want to give it a 9 and be like, okay, I gave her a 9 because that's close thing to 10. But again, I really don't have any complaints about it. But I'll say 8.5. I think that's a pretty fair up there.
Yeah.
I haven't found a better holster though. So if someone makes a better holster, feel free to contact me to try to beat it.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. Everyone has the body is just a different canvas for everybody. I mean, well, the three of us might have very similar frames. It doesn't apply to everyone else that's out there.
I've got like 3 or 4 holsters for every gun, don't you guys?
I've been finding that that's impossible to not have that many holsters when you're collecting guns. I mean, you just can't do it.
Yeah, with this little XDS, I think I've got 7 holsters for it. I've got a pocket holster, and I've got inside holster, outside holster. I got 3 inside holsters. It's just, yeah, it's just like purses, I guess, for women. You know, we've got to have all of our accessories, but you got to have something to go with whatever you're wearing. You know, because shorts, I use a pocket holster. You know, if it's in summertime, you can't, you know, slap on a outside waistband, or even a good crossbreed is going to pattern with some t-shirts. So
Yeah.
No, I agree correctly, because my outside the waistband for my same firearm is actually matched to my firearm. So I'm guilty. So they are basically purses for men. Admit it.
I just go with the good old duct tape across the back. Just die hard John McClane.
Die hard it. Nice.
No matter what season it works, as long as you're wearing a shirt.
So the Yippee-Ki-Yay holster?
Yeah, exactly.
well, you only get mine halfway out before all that hair sort of holds it back. You know, all that back hair. I pull out this big fuzzy ball, and they're like, what's that?
Well, you got something to polish it afterwards. So I'll get into my review, and this is certainly not something that I would be willing to duct tape to my back. And this is a Ruger Super Red Hawk and 44 mag.
Oh no, real men do that. Real men duct tape that.
Real man, yeah.
Yeah.
You just shoot it a couple times and stick it to your back.
Yeah, pretty much, man. So if you're not already familiar with Ruger's Red Hawks, I mean, they were almost synonymous with the 44 mag caliber for a long time. Really popular, really competitive with the Smith & Wesson's counterparts. The Red Hawk itself was a little bit more traditional, and a little bit the frame was a little bit more slender, and I believe they had issues with, you know, ones that have been repeatedly fired, and maybe some cracks or some faults happening with the frame. I thought it had something to do with what was used to seal the barrel into the frame. So after they stopped using that particular compound, they stopped having those issues. But they went ahead and they still produced the Super Red Hawks, and they brought quite a few new additions to the board. So right away you'll notice that the barrel is actually kind of more of a traditional barrel. This is actually hammer forged. So with hammer forging you get better robust and reliability, and you know, with the rifling a little bit better accuracy as well. It does come with scope rings, and there is reliefs machined into the frame to accept those scope rings. So they are proprietary for Ruger. Good thing they are really nice scope rings. I'll show you the nuts on them. Really good. I've shot it quite a few times, and it hasn't come loose at all. And it uses each ring has a total of 4 set screws. And the scope I have on this one I've actually had for a long time, and just waiting for the revolver. And it's just a Simmons 1x4. And so far it's held up pretty okay to the recoil, but I haven't shot it thoroughly enough to, you know, break it or see if it holds up. One thing that you will notice with mine is, well, where the heck's his front sight? Well, I'll get into that. In my negatives, I'm actually having a custom front sight post made for this. So back to the features and benefits of this one. It comes with a Hogue Tamer monogrip, so it's just a black rubber Hogue grip with finger grooves. I find that it's for my hand works really well. It's comfortable, and it softens some of that recoil as compared to like a hard wood grip. Some people might have bigger meat hooks, and they might not fit into the finger grooves correctly, or might not be able to get a good hand on it. So you are able to just take this off and throw any number of the numerous exotic wood grips that are out there, and they're all beautiful. So you do have that option. So this is the one that's chambered in 44 Magnum, which it also accepts 44 Special. So it's a dual chambering. Also, if you get there's a 45 Casull model, and that will be able to shoot 45 Colt. If you want something that's got a lot more stopping power and just a bigger wallop, then you can go 454 Casull. It's got the patented Ruger transfer bar system, so it makes sure that there's no accidental discharges of, if you had this fully loaded and dropped it, the hammer wouldn't fly forward and all that. Just extra safety features. The cylinder itself is built like a tank, just really nice. I love how Ruger puts their cylinder release right here, as opposed to like a Smith & Wesson's that's kind of like a sliding toggle. Just everything about it screams quality and just secure. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to break this thing. And another reason why I got it is for reloading. 44 Magnum is a really nice cartridge to reload for. Just a straight-walled case. It's really hard to screw up, but I'd say that with a disclaimer is don't intentionally be negligent. Read your reloading manuals. But as far as the for 44 Magnum and 44 Special, you've got a lot to choose from as far as bullet types and powder. A little less. 44 Magnum would prefer a Magnum powder, something like a an Hodgson 110 works really good. That's what I use. 44 Special, you can use different powders. So I actually used Unique in some 44 Special loads. It works really well. I mean, Unique is just flammable dirt, but great stuff. As far as the barrel lengths, you do have quite a bit of selection. This is the 7.5-inch barrel. It comes in 9.5, so quite longer. It comes in a special 5-inch model, and that's from the Talo edition. And then they have a model where there's actually, if you look at this extended frame, there is no barrel. This would it be exactly where it stops, and that's called the Alaskan. So if you're just into it, you want a short barrel Magnum powered revolver, you'd want to get the Alaskan. I wanted the Super Red Hawk. I wanted this specific barrel size because I wanted to be able to carry it in a holster. I wanted it to fit in some of my cases. I didn't want to feel like the Joker in that one Batman movie that had that super long barrel Smith & Wesson. It felt ridiculous and some extra weight that I didn't feel was completely necessary. So about this front sight, it's all one solid piece, sight base and ramp and blade all in one piece. You can't take the blade off and put it in a new blade. So what it is, I took it off, and you can see it's got this kind of mating system where there's kind of this like raised plateau in the barrel, and then it's machined flat, and then there's 3 screws. So I'm having my gunsmith basically just blueprint that and make a new base that has a dovetail cut in it. So that way, my ideal thought is taking something that's just a gold bead, but that's got a standard dovetail. So the front sight off of a 1022, putting that on this, and then swapping out the back, which I don't know if you'll be able to see with the scope on there, but the rear sight is just a square notch. I could replace that with a V notch, so it actually comes down in a V and it's got a single line coming down in the center. Would greatly increase the accuracy with iron sights. And so you might be thinking, well, if you've got a scope on there, why are you worried about the iron sights so much? Holstering this with a scope is pretty hard. I didn't want to buy like a specialty holster that all of this was open and it just had a little bit of leather to hold on to the front of the barrel. I wanted to use some standard holsters I already had, and I didn't want to rely on the scope for like low light settings, or just kind of more faster and accurate shooting at 100 yards for like a hunting situation. Kind of more of like a sidearm, charging bear, that scenario that a lot of us fantasize about. That's never going to happen. You know, pulling this out and having a scope on there, and you're shaking and you're peeing in your boots. I'd rather have just a really nice kind of more rifle quality iron sights on this. The reloads that I have shot grouped extremely well with the scope. Actually, they were all pretty much 50 yards. About the size, a little bit bigger than a golf ball. So it's got really good accuracy. So one person's review, I'll just kind of summarize it for you because I kind of pasted the whole review that they put in there. The Super Red Hawk is the most accurate hunting pistol that they've ever owned, with its heft and weight helping to make it controllable to shoot. Hotter rounds, such as the 454 Casull, have been too much in the hand slapper department for me to enjoy them, and much less do so accurately. Some folks do, of course, but for me, the 44 mag is the upper limit what I enjoy shooting out of a handgun. They do suggest a trigger job, and at least the spring kit would help the trigger pull. So the double action trigger pull, like most revolvers, definitely a little bit more of a task. But you can fire it in single action, which is much lighter. I don't have a trigger pull gauge to tell you what those are. But for the most part, accurate shooting, you're going to want to be firing in single action. So they basically just say that they can't recommend the Super Red Hawk highly enough for the caliber and the price range. And so the MSRP is high. It's $1,000 or $1,049. However, the retail you'll be able to get it for much less. Under $800 for certain for this 7-inch model. It might be some extra change for the longer barrel model. This one in particular I got for like $7.79 locally, so it was a really good deal. You can find these online at Bud's Gun Shop or Slick Guns. So my rating, I gave it an 8.5. I gave it pluses for including the scope rings for free, and they were really good quality. You definitely would have ended up buying cheaper scope rings had you not get these for free, so they're really good quality. The rubber grip is all weather, which suits my purpose for carrying it out in the woods, and it helps tame the recoil quite a bit. The added weight from all the beefed up frame helps to handle reloaded, hotter, warmer loads, and also with controlling the recoil. And the different barrel lengths for different purposes if you're more interested in accuracy, hunting, or self-defense. So my only negatives is that the front sight post was the reason why I'm really swapping it out, which I should have explained. It's wide, and it's got a big, ugly orange piece of plastic in it. It works. You'll be able to hit what you're aiming at 50 yards, 60 yards. But I really wanted something that I could, shoot really accurately, like golf balls at 100 yards. I wanted to push myself, and getting a smaller front sight bead and adjusting the rear sight would be the way to do that. But I don't understand, their previous models had a kind of a base built into the barrel, and then you could just drift in the front blade with a dovetail. But they don't do that anymore. All the models that I've seen in the stores didn't have that. It was the one piece, and I can't find that anywhere aftermarket to replace. So I'm having one fabricated. I wish that they kind of thought that out more. Just seems like they went with the least cost option. It is made out of aluminum, so it's not like it's plastic on the end of your barrel. But I wish there was the ability to swap it out, customize it a little bit more. As far as the triggers, from my experience and from what I've read, it's not the best revolver trigger out there, but it, like Smith & Wesson revolvers have it beat, but it's not all that terrible either, and just swapping it out with a trigger spring kit would certainly make it a little bit easier to pull double action wise. And that's my review.
All right, so to be clear here, so you're going to be open carrying the Super Red Hawk. Troy has got the Glock 30S, and I've got the Scar. All right.
Yeah.
We're like the new A team.
Yeah, I'll meet you at the Starbucks, and then we'll go to Jack in the Box after that.
Awesome.
Oh, Scar. Now, where did the Scar come from?
Or not the SCAR, the BAR.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got a truck gun that I keep. It's the PTR PDW in 308. It's the
That'll
308 pistol. Yeah, I keep that in my truck with about 5 mags just in case zombies come out.
Yeah. Well, you never know, man. You don't want to be in a situation where you're getting Waco'd.
Yeah. Now Scar, that's a gun. We could talk about that. Couldn't we?
SCAR 17 is heavy.
Yeah, I love it.
I will give you all 5 of my children for that.
Yeah, that's on my list. Like, when all the children are finally out of the house, I'll finally be able to afford it.
Well, next up in the tech gadget or app segment, I found a pop-up target system by remote, and it's called the CQB Trainer. So it's made in Israel, and it's actually made out of a 50 cal ammo box. Basically, the thought was that these ammo boxes get used by basically military forces all over the world, and usually they just get discarded when they're no longer needed or useful. So they actually repurposed an ammo box to have the mechanical internals to operate just a pop-up target holder. So you can use your own targets. So if you want to use like hostage, victim, any kind of pop-up targets you want, and then it operates by a wireless remote. So you want to check, that's cqbtrainer.com, and they've got 2 models, so you don't want to be confused. They've got the it's called the B2, and it looks like it has wheels, so it's kind of like a little remote control car that's a little bit heavily armored that can have your targets moving around. The other one is just called the CQB Trainer, and we'll get you the specs on that. They've got some really hilarious hand-painted targets too that you can order.
That target looks like
I'll get back to.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It looks like a Nazi stormtrooper or something. I can't make it out. He's got the helmet on.
So the tech specs for the CQB Trainer, it's got a range of 100 meters. The weight of it is 23.1 pounds, so it's got a little weight to it for sure. It operates on a 24-volt DC. It's got a service time about 10 years, a waiting standby time of 80 hours. It takes 2 hours to recharge the battery. It's got a bullet protection plate, so for 9mm or 5.56, in case any errant bullets get hit low, you don't want to punch it right through the ammo can. The the remote has 3 channels with an optional of 4, so you can get like 3 or 4 of these and just alternate them with popping the targets up and down. It's got a self-trainer mode, which I think it's actuates on commands, or it actually when after the gunshot goes off, it goes back down, so you can see whether you hit or miss or not. It's got the bullet counter reaction. And then there's also a sound accessory box, which I'm not sure because their videos are produced in Israel, so it's the production value and the explanation isn't really there. But I think there's a sound accessory box that like plays gunfire sounds. So it's meant for doing drills and clearing a building and close quarters combat CQB stuff. So having a unit that will play a sound, gunshots or something else, so that way when you're actually practicing clearing rooms, you have the auditory feedback of, oh hey, I hear somebody in this room, we've definitely got to clear this room and go hot, and then not have your kid in there making sounds in the corner hiding behind some AR-500 steel. I'm sure Nick would be okay with that.
long as I'm training with the Scar 17S Heavy.
Yeah. So the second one is it's the B Mark II pop-up system, and so it looks like that's got some wheels that moves around a little bit. The cool thing about these is you can use any of your own targets. So if you've got some shoot no shoot targets, you can utilize those as well. This would be really fun for like 3-gun competitions or just any kind of defensive pistol type competition where you can have it pop up and pop down from cover. As far as the patents are still pending, and the prices, I did a little bit of snooping, and I found a store that's not quite live yet on their navigation, but their prices for the actual units themselves are only set for $1, so I'm assuming those are placeholder prices. Or they're really $1, so get them while you can.
And $700 in shipping.
Yeah. That's how they get you. But it looks like they've got actual prices for all the other components too. So a 5.56 bullet protection shield is $120. Kind of steep. It's angled up. I'm not sure you'd want your splash going upwards. There's a long-range remote control system for $240. I'll be honest, a lot of this looks like it's being made in a foxhole as far as just the wires. I mean, I'm sure that they're looking for financial backing to ramp up production and sell some more of these, like go on Shark Tank or something. But it looks pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. There's other targets out there that are automated or remote controlled, but they're usually really expensive. Like unless you're Jerry Michalik and you can drop quite a few Benjis on something and not bat an eyelash, this might be the option for you, because in their kind of mission statement, they're saying that it's important for them to keep the system as low as a retail as possible to make it affordable for shooting academies and schools around the world. So they've really got kind of more of an educational market in their focus for their demographic, and not like exhibition shooters or all the tactical trainers out there that want to shoot videos and show off and spend buttloads of money on gear. So I definitely keep an eye on this. If it came at a good price, I wouldn't mind picking one up, because it'd be fun to have.
Here's the $1 million deform right now, because this would make it sell. They need to make an R2D2 thing to go over that can, and it's gonna sell.
Nobody shoot R2D2.
Oh yes, I would. And it makes sounds. You just plug in the beeps and the boops into it, or pick any other robot. I mean, it seems like to me
C-3PO and you've got yourself a deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or Jar Jar Binks. Man, they're missing the boat. Of course, all the licensing deals, but have some fun.
You just put a garbage can on top of a remote control would be a R2D2.
Well, it's kind of cool with the ammo can, but I'm not sure exactly how much cost savings by recycling that I guess commodity. If everyone's got them and you can just repaint it and put all your mechanical internals on the inside of it. I think they also sell a conversion kit, so maybe you can do this to your own ammo can if you're one that likes to be a little bit more technically involved. That might be interesting as well.
That may be targeting the military. That might be a selling point for them, that they've got all these ammo cans that they're not using. They can repurpose them. Trying to have an exclusive market presence there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it'd work not only well for close quarters, but some long-range applications as well, as far as testing reaction times and whatnot. But I'll keep an eye on this, guys, and if I see an MSRP when they finally go to market, I'll make sure to update you as well.
Cool.
So there was no listener feedback, no more new iTunes reviews. No people that were interested in winning some free stuff in the last week. That's disappointing. If you guys are interested in winning some Raid Tech stuff, all you got to do is leave an iTunes review. It doesn't even need to necessarily be, high 5 stars. As long as it's honest and constructive, I'd appreciate it personally. But just need to leave a review to enter and send me an email with all your information.
Yeah, the rating doesn't matter for who wins. So if you give a 5-star, you're not getting any better chance than if you.
But if you don't do a 5-star,
Right.
I'm going to find you with my Scar 17S Heavy.
Yeah, if it's a 1-star, I'm not going to send you any beef jerky with your with your stuff.
Man, I still haven't got any beef jerky from Bound Else, man. I'm mad.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any more either. That must have been just a short-time promo deal. So make sure you listen to other podcasts on the Firearms Radio Network, specifically the AR-15 podcast with Reed Snyder and J.W. Ramp. Everything to do with America's favorite black rifle, from barrels to different manufacturers, handguards, grips, even the different types of bullets, all the accessories and scopes. Make sure you tune in to the AR-15 podcast, and you can find that at www.ar15podcast.com. So in closing, make sure you send questions or comments to podcast@firearmsinsider.tv or myself at cross@firearmsradio.tv. If you're interested in appearing on the show, email me, and I'd like to get you on as a guest panelist. Remember to subscribe and leave an iTunes review. For like the third time, I've reminded you of that. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network, especially 2 guests that joined me today, the God and Guns podcast and the Practically Tactical podcast.
Absolutely.
So what are the URLs for those guys?
Go ahead.
Mine is practacpodcast.com.
Mine's godandgunspodcast.com.
Sweet. And there's a plethora of other shows on the Firearms Radio Network as well. If you go to www.firearmsradio.tv/iTunes, you can see all the shows. So be sure to visit the Firearms Insider page for this podcast, show notes, and gun and gear reviews. Also NRA show coverage and future industry happenings. So thanks for joining me, guys. It was great having you on.
It was fun.
Oh, thanks. Fun to be back on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Good reviews, and I hope you guys have a good, safe week.
You too.
Yep.
My goal is always to shoot when I go to my competitions, come back with the same amount of holes I left with.
Right.
So that's my number one goal.
That's a good rule of thumb.
All right.
All right, see ya.